Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, when it comes to getting a win on Saturday, will it just boil down to the last quarterback standing? We investigate next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. And thanks as always for making us your first listen. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. And right now, new customers can place a $5 bet and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. So visit FanDuel.com to get started. With the only Chris Level, I'm Casey Cowan. Great to be back with you, Chris. And today's name of the game, maybe Saturday's name of the game, it's all about that defense, as we'll be diving into what the Red Raiders will be tasked with in trying to contain, dare I say, stop what Colorado will be looking to do offensively. We'll get into a little pick your poison debate as to maybe who you address when you're looking toward that buff offense. And we'll also get into what really both these teams have found some success with as the season has gone along as far as the ability to pressure the quarterback. But first, I want to get into where you have come from as you prepare to face Colorado as a defense. And it seems like there's going to be quite the contrast of styles as you go back to what you saw in Ames, Iowa against Iowa State versus what you're expecting to see on Saturday against Colorado. Let's take a listen to Red Raider linebacker, Big 12 Defensive Player of the Week, Jacob Rodriguez, talking about the Colorado offense and talking about that 7-day swing from the Cyclones to the Buffaloes.
It's a completely different game that we just played. Iowa State's going to give us, 5 or 6 different personnels on first down, and these guys give us a lot of 10P and 11. So that type of stuff is completely different, and you got to shift gears from that. But we'll see how practice goes today and try to attack that, and we might have to match up DBs, put more DBs on the field, or whatever the case is, we'll try to figure that out the best we can. I think they are exactly as advertised. I think they're very explosive. I think they are very good. The 2 guys that are in the Heisman race are there for a reason, and I really believe that they are 2 of the best players in the country. A lot of respect for what they do, and everybody top to bottom on their offensive side of the ball is can go the distance. I know they don't run the ball a lot, but even those guys have the ability to make big plays, and so it's definitely something that's scary to see on film. But it's something that we have to step up to the challenge and kind of accept the challenge that we have to stop a good football team.
Chris, I don't want to necessarily act like it's night and day as far as the difference, because Iowa State has some quality pass catchers. I respect their quarterback and Rocco Beck, just like I do Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. But I'm curious maybe what you see or what you're expecting as far as the difference from what we faced in Ames, Iowa to what's coming to town on Saturday.
I think in Ames you faced a lot of scheme. If we're just talking about your defense versus an offense, I think Iowa State is like the blueprint there is a lot of execution, a lot of personnel groups, a lot of pre-snap movement, a lot of trying to make you think and match up and all that. And they're not trying to beat you 60-0. They're trying to shorten the game. It's a limited possession type of game, but they have some dudes now. I think Higgins and Noel, the receiver, those guys are bona fide NFL guys. There's no doubt. They look the part. I saw them up close. They put up some numbers against you, not overwhelming, but they also had a few key drops too, which I thought was interesting, which they had not had a drop all year until they played you. And then they also had their first fumble as well against you for the first time all year. Sports, right? This is a situation that you'll play on Saturday that is more player versus plays. They have scheme. I'm not, trying to take anything away from Pat Shermer or anything like that on what they do. There's clearly a rhyme and reason of what they're trying to do, and there's some coaching points and all those things. But this is a simple, game of like, okay, we are going to outlast you on these plays. If we call a passing play, it's not there. We're just going to try to extend it and see how long you can cover. And then I'm going to find, I mean, Sanders is completing 73% of his passes. I think in a couple of recent wins, he's been at the 80% or better mark. And I think he's been good about taking what is given to him. Like, you want to give him shallow and underneath, I think he's been willing to take that and not force things down the field and whatnot. So that's kind of what you're dealing with. But they're not trying to complicate you pre-snap. There's a level of I don't know if the right word is arrogance or stubbornness, but there's a level of, hey man, we're going to trot our guys out. We're not trying to trick you. We just think our people in one-on-one situations are going to be better than yours. And we're going to try to operate that way. And I think in a lot of cases that they've been right.
Right.
Yeah. So that's why you're just simply, you can't allow him to sit back with time. You just cannot do it. I think about some of the bells and whistles that you could simply try to use at your disposal this week, but like Dingle, John Carlos Miller, some of these specialists that bring speed, because you're going to have to match that. And it may not be as big of a game for like your big interior defensive lineman. You may not need the to go 4 to 5 deep there. You may see some extra DBs in there. And if you've got a linebacker that you don't think is as good in coverage as others, and you feel like maybe, an extra DB, I mean, this is kind of the chess match here that Tim DeRuyter will go through. But he will do what he does. He's going to try to confuse Shedeur Sanders. Because I think, it's do you blitz, and are you pressure? Do you drop a lot? I mean, the answer is yes, all of it. I mean, I think that's the, you try to keep him guessing a bit.
Well, you may have just answered my question, and I don't mean to make it so simple, but thinking about picking your poison, as in, do you sell out trying to go after the quarterback? Do you drop more to try and best defend Travis Hunter? And I'm sure they have other wide receivers as well. Just all their names escape me at this point in time. But
LeJonte Webster, Jimmy Horn. Yeah, there's Will Shepard. There's plenty of them.
So they do have others. That's good.
Yes.
I don't want to make it that simple, because I know you have to do a combination of things, but and obviously whenever you're, really trying to go after the quarterback, there's probably going to be some big plays here or there that offense is able to get, any offense. But if I'm going to go down, I would rather go down selling out and trying to kill the freaking quarterback of any team, much less this team where a guy is so dangerous. But I think, as you pointed out on yesterday's show, if you are doing that, you've got to be really disciplined in your rush, because he's a guy that can clearly hurt you with his legs, but he also, I think, even more dangerously hurt you with his legs in the sense that he's extending a play and looking for a bigger play down the field still as a passer. I think you touched on, escaping a pocket or something like that, escaping some pressure, but keeping eyes downfield and continuing to make those, just back-breaking kind of plays when you're able to do so. You have the risk of giving up some of those big plays when you're really trying to go after a quarterback, like I said, but I think we've already seen this movie when you talk about maybe keeping things in front of you, and that is an oversimplistic, way to describe it. I understand that. But I just still have nightmares of watching, Sawyer Robertson bake a cake in the backfield. I mean, having all day long. So I hope that they continue to do what maybe we've seen in some more recent weeks, and that you err on the side of trying to bring some heat. But kind of goes without saying, that's much easier said than done, I guess.
The ACU template and game plan, and the Baylor ACU, or the Baylor template or game plan or whatever, wad that up, throw it in trash. Yeah. Because these players are better than what both of those institutions were trotting out at signal caller and at wideout. But I do think there's a level of, is it 80-20? Is it 60-40? There is a level of, sometimes we do want you to think maybe we're coming after you, and then we're going to play coverage. Mm-hmm. We're going to, so it's just not the same thing over and over and over again. Cause obviously kids can adjust, and the coach can adjust. And and all those things. But your only chance is to keep this guy moving around. And again, like you said a second ago, he is somebody that is running with the intention to pass. There's run to run guys and there's run to pass. He is a run to pass guy. He is going to try to, and here's the other tricky thing. He, I think, has gotten better about.
First, today's episode brought to you by Robinhood. Did you know that even if you have a 401k for retirement, you can still have an IRA? Robinhood has the only IRA that gives you a 3% boost on every dollar you contribute when you subscribe to Robinhood Gold. But get this, now through April 30th, Robinhood is even boosting every single dollar you transfer in from other retirement accounts with a 3% match. That's right, no cap on the 3% match. Robinhood Gold gets you the most for your retirement thanks to their IRA with a 3% match. This offer is good through April 30th. Get started at robinhood.com/boost. Subscription fees apply. And now for some legal info. Claim as of Q1 2024 validated by Radius Global Market Research. Investing involves risk, including loss. Limitations apply to IRAs and 401ks. 3% match requires Robinhood Gold for 1 year from the date of first 3% match. Must keep Robinhood IRA for 5 years. The 3% match on transfers is subject to specific terms and conditions. Robinhood IRA available to U.S. customers in good standing. Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC, is a registered broker-dealer. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Get ready to tackle all the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And right now, new customers can bet only $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL and a whole lot more, all in one place. So when you get a hunch, a gut instinct in the middle of the game, you can check out the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more, all on the same page where you place your bet. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today, and you'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a gut feeling again, and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
And here's the other tricky thing. He, I think, has gotten better about, last year, I think he would hold on to it too long. Some of the sacks were his fault because I think he's simply just holding on to it too long, trying to wait. And to his credit, tough, hanging in there. But it's like, just throw the ball away, man. And I think he's been more willing to throw it away or to check down and kind of take what's there. Let's live to fight another down in series and all those things. But he also is going to throw guys open. You may have great coverage, and there's some dudes, Hunter specifically, there's, you may have great coverage and he still may make a play. I think that this quarterback trusts his guys, to throw it up to him. And again, it's mano a mano. Hey, Mohorn, I don't think when the ball's in the air, I think my guy's going to be better than you if I give him the ball in the right spot. And again, they've been right a lot with that assumption. But this will, and we'll see kind of how they choose to employ things in the secondary. But like your Jordan Sanfords, your Brendan Jordans, I mean, they're all going to get chances. They're all going to get chances. I want to assume, tricky there. I want to assume that they're not going to just hammer you running the football. I certainly hope that they don't. If that is mixed in, because they haven't had a 100-yard rusher all year. They're averaging only about 80 a game. If that busts a leak or whatever, then you really might be in trouble. But if they are one-dimensional and what we're talking about here, and you can utilize a guy like Dingle and John Carlos Miller and some of these these bells and whistles that you have that are, I guess the right way to say it is they're more specialty type players or specialized with their skill set. I think that's where, because those are the first two guys that come to mind on this is their type of game. This is where their skill set could be utilized or accentuated the most. And because we've seen it work with at Arizona and at TCU at times and things like that. But I'll just go back to saying it. You this is a non-negotiable. Like you just, there's not a path to victory if you can't make this kid uncomfortable back there. And even said that he's gonna make plays.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, and that's just going to be part of the deal. Just like I would say that Taj Brooks and in the run game on your end is going to make plays. I mean, that there's some givens going into this deal, but it's just about not breaking your back. I mean, because you average, I mean, you look at what you're putting up a game. I mean, you're still in that 37, 38 points a game range, and they're only averaging like 31 a game. I say only, but I mean, you know, but it's been very efficient. I think he's only got 6 interceptions on the year. Maybe he takes a few sacks when he shouldn't, but sometimes those sacks, it's about when you sack him. Is it on 3rd and 12, or is it 2nd and 5, and then they make a play the next time? You know, I mean, there's some differences, and I think some of the sacks that they may be giving up, but that's been cleaned up in recent weeks, I think, by these Buffs. The other thing, just in general, and we're talking about your defense versus their offense right now. This isn't, I'm going to go back to the Iowa State comparison. Iowa State's offensive line was massive. I mean, you got a bunch of 6'6", 320 corn-fed dudes that don't necessarily move the best, but they worked well, or they had in unison. This isn't the biggest offensive line. You got some 275, 280 out there. You've got
they're like granola fed or whatever they eat in Colorado. I'm not sure. Not corn fed.
I love that. That
Kale fed. What are you eating?
Touche. Yeah.
Tofurkey, impossible meat.
Yeah, that's right. But this isn't some group that's going to just lean on you and mash you, and so. That's why I say, because my concern with a guy like John Carlos Miller or a Dingle or something like that is like, man, if you just get a bunch of dudes that get their hands on you, their speed would be negated or neutralized. But that's not what you're dealing with here. Gotcha. There's talent with this group, but it's better than last year up front for them, but it's not worlds better. They have struggled at times, but their defensive line, that's the other thing, man. Their defensive line is very undersized compared to what you have seen in a lot of cases in recent weeks with the Big 12 schools. But anyway, just wanted to throw that up.
I want to get to what both these defenses, including that defensive front for Colorado, will be looking to do coming up in just a moment. The run game, you think they're just not any good at it? They just don't care about it? I'm trying to figure out, is it just one of those offenses where it's an afterthought, or is there some inability to actually generate a rushing attack?
I mean, like I said, when it's like, okay, do you want to rush him? Do you want to play coverage? I mean, I'm just gonna, and I said yes. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say that here too. I don't think they're not really built to do that. I don't think they want to be built. Part of me, I think they're trying to win him the Heisman or showcase him and play to his strengths. I think he'd rather make the play than hand it. I do think that they'll, in running situations, they will hand it off, and they're capable, but it's just not what they highlight. That's not really it's token. It's a token run game, gotcha, if you will. It's just there to somewhat keep you honest. But that's why I say, if that is effective in any way, that's also bad. Sure. If that becomes effective, because if they're one-dimensional, then you can do a lot of what we're talking about here, and you can you use certain players that accentuate their skill set and all those things. But they're just not. It's just not something that Isaiah Augustave, maybe I'm mispronouncing that, but that's like maybe their best back. They're because I think, truth be told, they're really their best back is the one that transferred to Kansas State back in the summertime, or when the last portal window opened, and I think it hurt some feelings, and I think he was trying to rejoin his high school teammate and Avery Johnson, the quarterback at Kansas State, and all that. Otherwise, we'd be talking about him in this particular case. But but they're not really built to do that, nor do they. I don't think they're worried about not being great at it. But it's a token run game, if you will. So it needs to stay that way.
Colorado, as the season has gone along, seems like they've done a pretty decent job and trending in the right direction as far as First, today's episode brought to you by Hims. Sometimes intimate moments happen spontaneously, and we always want to be ready and at attention. Hims provides access to treatments that can help you stay ready for the call of duty anytime, giving you the boost of confidence you need to be at your best. Ever feel like you need a little boost? It's time to stop worrying and get Hims. Hims is changing men's healthcare by providing you with access to affordable sexual health treatments from the comfort of your couch. Plus, the process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. Just answer a series of questions on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you in discreet packaging for free. No insurance needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the option that works for you. So start your free online visit today at hims.com/lockedon. That's HIMS.com/lockedon for your personalized treatment options at hims.com/lockedon. The products mentioned are chewable compounded products which are not approved by or verified for safety or effectiveness by the FDA. Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See our website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan. Colorado, as the season has gone along, seems like they've done a pretty decent job and trending in the right direction as far as getting to opposing quarterbacks. And that was something also that Joey McGuire touched on as far as the Red Raider defensive game plan. And one thing that seems non-negotiable. Here's Joey McGuire.
We have to hit the quarterback. What's crazy though is, or not what's crazy, it's impressive the weight gain that he's had from last year to this year. And the muscle that he's put on, he takes a lot of hits, and man, he is a tough guy. He just keeps getting back up, but the times that people have done that, it's affected some of the throws and stuff like that. I thought Baylor did a really good job with that, pressuring him. Nebraska did a really good job pressuring him. So we've got to be able to do that, but we also got to do some stuff that K-State did where you kind of mix some of the drop 8 in and stuff like that. But it's one of those deals that you're not going to stop what he does. You've just got to hope that you're slowing him down. And then the one thing that we've done well all year long on defense is take the ball away. We created a turnover against Iowa State with Jacob Rodriguez punching the ball out. That was the first fumble they've had all season long. That's something that's been a big emphasis on, for us. And so we've got to be able to take the ball away to generate a couple extra possessions for our offense.
I guess one thing that really stands out to me, Chris, you already mentioned, I think, only 6 interceptions thrown this year, only had a few last year. And he's been under fire the entire time. I mean, was he been sacked like 25 times or something like that?
26, yeah,
26 times this year. But the sack to interception number doesn't really correlate like you might think it would for a quarterback that's under pressure. So I don't really know what to make of that necessarily. Maybe he's learned something in the sense that he's not taking those risks when he is under fire. I have no idea. But either way, it kind of seems like given what they can do as far as getting after the quarterback, what you hope to do as far as getting after the quarterback, is it just the last QB standing is going to be the winner? I feel like they're both going to be under heavy fire on Saturday evening.
I think that this is a QB that is as confident as his dad is. That's what I think. And I think that they will do everything they can to keep the game in his hands. Even when it maybe doesn't make sense, but that's the kind of confidence that they've got, and that he's got in himself, and that the head coach has in his son, and all those things. It's all set up that way. I think that if you're the flip side is, I do think that it is imperative to get your run game going. And Taj Brooks, look, you're trying to set the record, but ultimately you're trying to win the game. But getting that run game going and keeping this outfit over there on the east side sideline is also imperative, limiting their opportunities. So you almost kind of want to Iowa State or Kansas State them a little bit. And what I mean by that is it's okay with a bunch of 4-yard gains on the ground and that clock running and just letting Taj Brooks kind of steady as she goes, or some quick, short, controlled passing game just to kind of, stay on the field a bit. And they try to press the issue on that side of the ball. They are very aggressive up front. I think they play man-to-man coverage because they trust again, it's the same premise on the flip side. My guy covering you, he's better than you. I don't care how good you are, Caleb or Josh or Coy or Jalen or Taj or whatever. I am better than you. So that's how I'm going to treat it. And they play more man-to-man coverage than you'll see anybody else the rest of the season, or that you have this season. And that allows them in many ways to say, okay, now we've got Travis has got this, DJ's got this, Preston's got this, whatever their DBs are. Now we can employ more people to be more aggressive up front and try to control the run game, or try to come after you and speed you up, if you will. But that's kind of the game within the game. Is I think that longer sustained drives would benefit you greatly for many reasons. But I'm not turning down a 58-yard touchdown pass or anything like that. Oh, that's one thing I've never understood. We score too fast. I mean, like back when Mahomes was QB in this thing, it's like that was always the knock. It's like our offense just scores way too fast. Never really grasped that concept.
I never felt that way about scoring. I have felt that way about a 3-and-out with 3 passes and 18 seconds taken off the clock before. But
touche.
If you're getting 7, you take 5 seconds off the clock. I don't care.
Yeah, that's right. But that's kind of that would behoove you if you can get that done. Easier said than done. And again, the more snaps, there's more chances for holding penalties or a fumble or something for you to screw it up. So there's a lot that you're messing with there too.
Well, we talked about it this week. I mean, you just came off of a game where somehow, shockingly, would not have bet on this to be the case, but against Iowa State's defense, they force you to do this if you want to be successful, and you were able to do it. Now, you had some big plays, but you also had 3 drives, 10 plays or more. One of them 98 yards, a game-winning drive, 12 plays for 71 or 72 yards. I mean, all the opportunity to make mistakes within that type of drive has been well discussed and well documented, but for the most part, they avoided that a week ago. So maybe that's a good omen for what you might want to do coming up Saturday. I would love to do that to someone, and part of that is based in Red Raider bias and trauma from 2 decades ago, because we would talk about that during the Mike Leach era. Like, if you've really got an offense that's clicking, your best defense is sometimes to just keep them on the sideline, and some teams would occasionally figure out how to do that against the Red Raiders. And man, it was frustrating when you didn't even really have an opportunity to use what was your best weapon or the best aspect of your team. So would love to see that recipe come to fruition on Saturday. Chris, appreciate the time as always, my man. Enjoyed it. It's going to be a big one this weekend. We got one more go around before we get to it, so looking forward to that. Thanks for the time, and we'll see you for the next one.
Absolutely. Hit the quarterback. Hit him.
Always.
Yes.
Always. They've tried to outlaw defense and violence. You got to ask the quarterback, hey, may I consensually take you to the ground? You got to do the James Harrison thing, like put a pillow under their head. But still, for the most part, if you can kill the quarterback, you've got a great chance to win a football game. So I know they'll both be trying to do that on Saturday. Appreciate you guys for all being out there. Once again, get subscribed on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. One of the best ways to help us grow the show is to comment anything below. And it doesn't matter what colors you're wearing. The Dion stands have found us, Chris, and it was a lot of fun mixing it up with you guys here this week. If you didn't know, the Buffaloes are America's sweethearts, and they're beyond reproach. I think they're even shocked and offended that we're just not outright rooting for Colorado. Seemed to be a surprise to them. So enjoyed hearing that from you guys. Keep it coming, and everybody else as well. Appreciate it.
And when most of these people don't even know like who Darian Hagan is, Michael Westbrook. These are all new Buff fans. I would think a lot of them
Dion
are
fans.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So
that's all right. That's
okay.
all right. Appreciate everybody for being out there, particularly those everydayers who are mixing it up in the YouTube comment section. And of course, if you haven't yet, hit the show notes, check out the link, and become a Matador Mob Insider. Your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. For Chris, I'm Casey. Thanks for the time as always. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.